So welcome, good evening, and friends, welcome to Fitchburg Access Television's 27th Annual Boulder Award Dinner, honoring tonight's recipient, Peter Capodagli. Most of you may know, but my name is Nathan Glennie, Executive Director here at Fitchburg Access Television, and I'm honored to be your host for this evening's celebration. Before we begin tonight, I'd like to thank our host, Oak Hill Country Club, and their fabulous presentation for this evening. So Jeremy and his staff do a wonderful job, and we should give them a round of applause as well. I'd like to take some time now to recognize our esteemed guest this evening from our delegation. We have Mayor Samantha Squalia. And to her right, Chief of Staff Alex Vera. We have City Councilor and also representing Senator Cronin's office, Beth Walsh. I do hear Michael Kushmerek will be attending, but in his place we have Rebecca from his office. And I believe I just saw her, Sally Cragen, Councilor Sally Cragen, welcome. So folks, as I look across the room tonight, I see a lot of friendly faces here and all of our community coming together to celebrate. I am honored you are all here this evening because, well, as we all know, May and June can be very busy for events, and so I thank you for taking time out of your busy schedule to join us tonight. It's been 15 months since our organization relocated to the heart of our downtown community. And I can say this with certainty, we have found our new home. From accessibility to visibility, FATV's Community Media Center on Main Street is the place where we belong. Being a part of the growing downtown district is just one way we are embracing our motto, working together for a stronger community. Keeping that phrase in mind, I want to briefly share with you what our organization is doing to keep that momentum moving forward. For over a year, FATV has featured closed captioning in both English and Spanish. We have made recent upgrades to some of our facilities and editing equipment, and soon we're going to be debuting a new machine. It is a film digitizing machine that will help us preserve media found on 16 and 35 millimeter. All great additions to our facility, and all of our members get to enjoy that if you come on by. We're also exploring programmatic opportunities in the digital equity realm and to help position our organization into a successful and sustaining future. In addition, some of you may have seen it at the Fitchburg Public Library, but we recently installed a TV which shows our community bulletin board there full-time. We're going to be adding this feature at the Senior Center, and it's just another way that we're trying to connect our community to keep everyone informed and entertained and connected. I want to elaborate further upon our motto, which I just can't say enough, working together for a stronger community. That message is probably true for just about everybody here in this room this evening. Our community is so lucky to have such an engaging membership who keep our community connected. They keep them informed, and well, sometimes you can watch our programming and be entertained. Depending upon what you watch, that is. It is through these efforts of our members and our staff that last year we had over 600 hours of community television programming featured. That's no small feat. When you break that down into the days of the week, Monday through Friday, we're featuring 2 1/3 hours of local community programming. That's a lot. And I'm very proud of everybody who participates, everybody who watches, and our staff, which I'll introduce in a little bit here. So thank you all for being here, for being participatory at community media centers like FATV. And I just can't thank you enough. So I want to give you a round of applause. Thank you. And yes, it's that time to really show gratitude to my staff over here who really gets it done each and every day. We would undoubtedly not be as successful as we are without this team that we have. They all believe in local access television and the value that it brings to our community. I'm so lucky and grateful to work alongside these professionals each and every day. And so now, without further ado, I'd like to introduce them to you all. Travis Falk, our operations manager. His dedication over the last 14 years is second to none. From production efficiencies to ensuring FATV broadcasts reach our viewing audience on numerous platforms, Travis is a workhorse. I actually asked him recently to become assistant executive director, but he knows if he accepts it, he'll have to bring his script up to this podium next year. So thank you, Travis. Ann Bisbee, our station manager. Working on her 13th, lucky 13 year, FATV's Ann Bisbee is the heartbeat of our organization. Her welcoming personality, organizational skills, and frankly, dealing with me makes her second to none. If you watch live TV on FATV, you will see that there is continual programming playing from 7 a.m. till 10 p.m. at night, and that is all done by Ann, and it takes some time, right? Yeah. Someone actually shared with me they watch our community station from Newton, and they'll watch a specific program, but then they'll stay on and watch because of that continual programming. And the comments we've received, which come sporadically and you never know what to expect, this one was like, wow, there's a lot of good stuff happening in Fitchburg, and that's true. You can see it everywhere where you look. The amount of work and effort being done outside of FATV is incredible, but we're happy to share that all with you. So Ann, in addition to that scheduling, she also does our community bulletin boards, among many other things, social media, answering the phones, and she actually organized all of tonight's Boulder Award dinner. So I would like to thank her for doing that. All right, Daniel Bolak, production assistant specialist, is not here this evening. He's not feeling well, but he is doing well. He's getting better. So in celebrating his third year with FATV, Dan is the man behind the curtain. He is the one who takes care of all of those lovely legislative meetings from 700 Main Street, and that was nearly 300 hours of programming alone last year. Dan helps in other assets too, does a lot of pre-production work, as well as maintaining our website, and he's also a commentator for some of our sports. So we thank Dan for all of his efforts. And next we have Keith DePerry, our access coordinator. Keith joined our team back in September of last year, and he comes to us from our neighboring Community Access Center in Leominster. Having previous experience in this community media world, Keith has hit the ground running and provides wonderful member services and training. So if you want to learn something new, he's your guy. Whether it's editing or podcasting, I think Sally Cragen can elaborate upon his training, but he will get you TV or podcast ready. So thank you, Keith. And finally, I'd like to introduce you to Isaiah Manuel. He's our production assistant behind the camera tonight. Isaiah recently joined us back in January after being a standout student with our collaboration with Fitchburg State University and their multi-camera course. He proved himself during the class and wanted him to join our team. He's a junior. Am I right? Yeah? All right. My notes are correct. Junior at Fitchburg State, but I could see something. He has that TV bug, and you can see it in the work that he does. So welcome to FATV. So again, thank you to my staff. They are just wonderful to work with each and every day. And the other wonderful people I get to work with is my board of directors. 11 of them, but they are all wonderful partners of mine. They bring different assets and experience and insight. And at this time, I'd like to call up to the podium my board president, Colby O'Brien. Colby here, he's my boss. He's my president. He treats me well most of the time. But he's also the president of programming for Making Opportunity Count. And Colby is joined our board bringing strong commitment to community service and nonprofit. So Colby, take it away, my friend.
Thank you, Nate. Thanks, Nate. I am your boss. I'm pretty nice to you. I hope you know that.
You are.
All right? Compared to other people, I mean, I'm pretty nice.
Indeed.
Good evening. On behalf of our board of directors, I want to thank everybody for coming out tonight for our 27th annual Boulder Awards ceremony. Before I introduce our board, I want to send our appreciation to Nate and his team for bringing this event together year after year. So let's give him and his team another round of applause, please. FATV's Board of Directors is a group of focused, like-minded individuals who contribute their expertise to support the mission and growth of the organization. As I introduce your name, please stand to be recognized. Vice President Matt Borgat. Matt unfortunately couldn't make it tonight. He's the Executive Director of the Ashburnham Westminster Community Media, and he's been a valuable neighbor at Access Television for the last 17 years. Board Secretary Ellen Dost. Ellen is the Associate Director of Education at Cambridge Community Television. Ellen has been involved with community media since 2011 and serves on several other local community boards and is very involved in the community. Treasurer Glenn Kenny. Glenn retired from Harvard University's Media Services Department after a noteworthy 33 years. He's a familiar face as a local DJ, and you're going to catch him annually at every Civic Days block party. So thank you, Glenn. Board member Sharon Bernard. Sharon joined us after a remarkable career at Fitchburg Public Library. Her community insight, thoughtfulness, and dedication is invaluable. Thank you, Sharon. Board member Matt Braun. I misspelled your last name. Apologies. Bruin. Yeah. I'll hear about it later at the next meeting. Probably my other board members too. They'll tell me I said their last name wrong. Matt is the Director of Communications at Fitchburg State University. He brings an extensive background in professional journalism, experience, and civic engagement. Thank you, Matt. Board member Pat Calhoun. Pat is the senior engineer at Game Creek Video. He couldn't make it tonight, but he's a huge asset to our organization with his experience. Board member Todd Govin. Todd is a lifelong resident of Fitchburg. He's a lineman for Unitil and a very active volunteer of FATV. Thank you, Todd, for everything you do. Board member David Genesi. David is the Senior Director of Development for the Boys and Girls Club of Leominster and Fitchburg. He's known for his creativity and passion for community involvement. His former FATV show, Forks Over Fitchburg, is nationally recognized and awarded. David, thank you. Board Member Tracy LaFleur. Tracy brings over 24 years of banking experience to the board, and her civic involvement has been recognized and appreciated as far and wide in North Central. Thank you, Tracy. This one I had Nate pronounce the last name for me, so I'm gonna give it a shot. George Maragium. George, I'm so sorry. I know. You're my favorite guy too. I'm so sorry. I'll get it right next time. I promise. George is a longtime member of FATV. He hosts a TV show on FATV, Chess Club, Chess Chat. He's recognized for his community involvement and history. He's quite literally the historian for FATV. George, thank you for everything you do. Always.
Our tonight's recipient knows the most history about Fitchburg than anybody else.
You're in second place now. I want to extend our gratitude to our board for your unwavering commitment and invaluable contributions to FATV. Your wealth and knowledge, diverse expertise, both professionally and personally, greatly enriches our organization and propels us towards future growth. I'm really sorry about all your last names. Now, without further ado, I'd like to pass the baton back to Nate Glennie to continue our ceremony. Thank you for everything, Nate, and we'll continue a wonderful evening together.
Thank you. All right, so as we begin our second half of our program, every year the FATV staff selects some of our volunteers who are deserving of an award for their contributions to community media. So I would like to begin by starting with the recipient of the 22nd Annual Member Awards. May I ask Francisco Ramos from New View Communities to join me up here, please? Thank you. So Francisco's going to help me with translation tonight. So our first member award this evening goes to someone who has become a regular part of our FATV family. When I first met David, I knew there was something special about his technical skills. Good.
Thank you. Nuestro primer premio es para alguien que se ha convertido en una parte regular de la membresía de FATV.
Well, that's because he was a radio and TV producer back in the days of living in Colombia. His passion for media was clear, and his drive to create programming for FATV was evident.
La primera vez que conocí a David, supe que tenía algo especial en sus habilidades técnicas. Bueno, eso fue porque él era un productor de radio y televisión en su país natal, Colombia. Su pasión por las comunicaciones era clara y su pasión para crear programación para FATV era evidente.
David began creating informational podcasts in his native language of Spanish, which has brought a welcoming new addition to the FATV airwaves. In less than a year, Que Buena Onda has 27 episodes available to our community to view. But that, yes, of course. Do you want me to continue or do you want?
David empezó a crear programación en su lenguaje nativo español y ha traído una nueva bienvenida, una adición, una comunidad que es bienvenida a las ondas de radio y televisión de FATV. En menos de un año, Qué Buena Onda ha hecho 27 episodios disponibles para la comunidad.
But you see, his involvement didn't stop just with that podcast. Thanks to David and his wife, this past election year, local candidate spotlight messages were translated into Spanish for our Spanish-speaking community to also stay connected and informed. This connection is something that we are so grateful for. It's volunteers like David who make these types of special efforts possible. My friend, I'm going to let Francisco translate.
Pero la participación de David no terminó con sus episodios de podcast. David y su esposa el año pasado en las elecciones municipales tradujeron los videos de todos los candidatos al español, creando una conexión mejor que incluye la población que habla español en la ciudad, por lo cual estamos muy agradecidos. Y son voluntarios como David y Liliana, su esposa, que hacen de estos tipos de esfuerzos que sean posibles.
So, my friend, I wish you nothing but continued success, and I am honored to present you this year's Podcast of the Year Award. Mr. David Suarez, please come up.
Okay. Señoras y señores, para mí es un honor
Ladies and gentlemen, it is an honor for me
recibir este importante reconocimiento.
to receive this important recognition.
Para mí la radio, la televisión, las comunicaciones en general
For me, radio, television, and massive communications in general,
son mi pasión,
they are my passion.
son la base para que una comunidad pueda expresarse,
They are the platform for a community to express itself
sin importar el idioma.
without taking into account language.
Pero, ¿por qué amo la radio?
But why is it that I love radio?
Hoy, casi 24 años después, aún sigo enamorado de la radio.
Almost 24 years after I started, I am still in love with radio.
Y aunque he ocupado cargos que van desde director de proyectos hasta productor de radio y televisión,
And even though I have had different positions in my career, leading projects and being a producer,
nada se compara con estar al frente de una consola, abrir los micrófonos, poner música y conversar con los oyentes.
nothing can be compared with being in front of a console, open the microphones, and start communicating with the people listening.
En septiembre de 1999 tuve la oportunidad de trabajar en la primera emisora del Ejército Nacional de Colombia.
In 1999, I had an opportunity to work with the first radio station of the National Army in Colombia.
Era una habitación de un soldado, de un cadete, de la Escuela Militar General José María Córdoba de Bogotá.
And it was nothing more than a room of one cadet at the military school José María Córdoba in Bogotá.
Adecuada para ser una emisora, con unos equipos de última generación de esa época.
And that room was equipped with the latest technology of that day.
Ya contaba con algo de experiencia que me proporcionó una pequeña emisora de la Academia Arco.
And I had a little bit of experience that I had gained in a TV radio station called Arco.
Mi alma mater, que cubría 3 o 4 cuadras de la zona de un barrio de la ciudad.
My alma mater, which took 2 or 3 blocks in my neighborhood in the city.
Aún recuerdo con emoción esa primera sensación de escucharme al aire, una mezcla de orgullo y vergüenza.
And I remember the feeling, I remember the emotions that I felt when I heard the first waves that I sent out into the community. It was a mixture of pride and shame.
Hoy, después de muchos años, aún sigo pensando en radio y con más ganas de seguir adentro de ella.
And so many years after, I am still thinking about radio, and I have still the desire to be in it.
Y con esto, aprovecho para proponerles un sueño. Son varios, pero les cuento de uno que tengo en mente.
In taking this opportunity, I want to share with you a dream. I have several, but let me share this one that I have in mind.
Como sabemos, Estados Unidos tiene un alto índice de migrantes de todo el planeta.
As we know, the United States has a big index of immigrants from all over the world.
Y para aprovechar esa riqueza cultural, mi sueño es el de tener una emisora mundial.
And to be able to sustain that wealth, that cultural wealth, my dream is to have a world radio station.
Multinacional, multicultural, sin fronteras geográficas, religiosas o políticas.
Multinational, multicultural, with no geographic borders and no religious or political boundaries.
Muy diversa, sin orientaciones sexuales, de muchos idiomas y sin límite de edades.
A diverse radio station without regard to sexual orientation, with many languages and with no limiting ages.
En donde las voces del mundo se puedan unir y hacer una verdadera comunicación global. Y en donde, en medio de tanta polarización y guerras,
where the voices from all over the world can communicate and have a global interchange in the middle of so much polarization and wars,
haya una pequeña luz de esperanza y poder entender que todos somos diferentes y que podemos convivir en amor, en armonía y paz.
to make possible a small light of hope and to help us understand that all of us are different, but all of us can live together in harmony and peace.
Eso es comunicación. Y eso, por ahora, es uno de mis sueños que tengo en mente.
And that is communication. And for now, that is one of the dreams that I have in my mind.
Y por otro lado, quiero agradecer por estar aún activo en lo que es mi pasión y agradezco a Dios por darme el poder de hacer con facilidad lo que hago.
And on the other hand, I want to be thankful for still being active in this that is my passion. I thank God for giving me the gift to be able to do this easily and to be a representative of all Latinos in Fitchburg.
También agradezco a Dios por ponerme gente maravillosa en mi camino. Y es aquí que comienzo a agradecer lo que Él, Dios, creó.
And I also want to thank God for putting wonderful people in my path. And it is here that I want to be thankful for all that God created.
Agradecimientos a mis papás, a mi papá y a mi mamá, por darme el carácter y enseñarme que la honestidad siempre debe ser nuestra carta de presentación.
And I want to thank my mother and my father for forming my character and for teaching me that honesty is always our best introductory letter.
Me disculpa si se me quiebra la voz.
And I apologize if my voice breaks.
A mis hermanos, por su respeto, apoyo y ojalá estuvieran acá. Ojalá hubieran estado acá.
To my siblings for their constant respect and support, and I would wish they were here with us today.
A Francisco Ramos, quien fue el puente, la persona que me presentó a las directivas de FATV.
A Francisco Ramos, who was a bridge and introduced me to the leadership of FATV.
A Luisa, que también me ha tenido en cuenta para eventos y proyectos de la ciudad.
To Luisa, who has always taken me into account for all projects in the city.
A Nate, que en medio de nuestro poco entendimiento idiomático,
To Nate, who even though we struggle understanding each other in terms of language,
nos entendemos por la pasión de los medios, pues el concepto es universal.
we understand each other because both of us have the same passion for radio and for communication, and that's a universal language.
Gracias, mi amigo, por abrirme las puertas del canal y su amabilidad y grandiosa personalidad.
Thank you, my friend, for opening the doors to the station to me and for your gracefulness and your great personality.
Para Ani, abro un paréntesis acá. Es la voz institucional en inglés de la emisora que monté, la RFM.
To Annie, and I want to open a parenthesis, she is the institutional voice in English of the TV station that I put together, the RFM.
Gracias por tu amabilidad, siempre con una actitud positiva y alegre.
Thank you for your gentleness, for always having a positive attitude and always joyful.
Para Kit y todo el equipo técnico, mis respetos, porque gracias a ellos el canal está funcionando muy bien y transmitiendo full. Muchas gracias.
For Kid and all the technical workers at the station, I give you my respect because it is thanks to your efforts and to your skills, the station is really functioning well and transmitting.
Ya para terminar, quiero agradecer a dos personas muy especiales y que gracias a Dios están conmigo.
And to wrap up, I want to thank two special people who are, thank God, are here with me.
La primera es mi esposa Liliana Barrera Lugo, quien es mi sostén, mi motor, mi ejemplo. Y abro otro paréntesis.
The first person is my wife, Liliana Barrera Lugo, who is my engine, my support, and my example. And I want to open another parenthesis.
Liliana es la voz en español de la alcaldesa Sam Squalia.
Liliana is the voice in Spanish of Mayor Sam Squalia.
Tremenda voz. Además, su linda voz es una mujer inteligente, preparada, bonita.
And besides my wife's nice voice, she's also very well prepared, beautiful, and hard worker.
Y es muy profesional y va sin freno, progresando en su carrera.
And she's also a true professional who is developing in her own career.
Y ya para terminar,
And to finish,
a finales de noviembre del año pasado adquirí el COVID.
last year in November, I got COVID.
Y por ser asmático, se me complicó y duré varios días en cama.
And because I have asthma, it really became complicated and I ended up in bed.
Fue tan duro que perdí la voz y con esto vino la incertidumbre y la tristeza.
And it was so strong that I lost my voice, and with this, the doubt came in and sadness.
Al punto que no quería volver a hacer los podcasts y terminar la emisora.
And it was so difficult that I did not want to make another podcast and I wanted to finish my relationship to the station.
Y es hoy y ahora que viene el agradecimiento más importante de la noche.
And it is only tonight that I have the greatest thankfulness for, it's the most important this night.
Por la lección que me dio. Y con esto otra pequeña historia.
Because I am receiving a lesson, and with this another story.
En medio de mi recuperación, una vocecita me preguntó,
In the middle of my getting better, a little voice told me,
¿qué es la fe?
what is faith?
Y le contesté lo que pienso de la fe.
And I answered what I think about faith.
Es algo que no se ve, es algo intangible, algo que no se puede contar, pero es una fuerza que mueve a los hombres.
It's something that we cannot see, we cannot touch, we cannot even talk about it, but it's a strength, it's a force that moves human beings.
Y esa voz me preguntó de nuevo, ¿y tú tienes fe?
And that voice asked me again, do you have faith?
A lo que le contesté un poco con pena y no muy seguro. Sí la tengo.
And I had to answer a little shamed and not with a lot of certainty, yes, I do have it.
A lo que él me contestó, entonces no la pierdas y sigue haciendo los podcasts y no acabes con la emisora.
And then that little voice answered to me, then don't lose your faith, keep doing your podcasts and continue your relationship to the station.
Y esa voz me inspiró y me dio la fuerza para recuperar mi voz y seguir adelante.
And that little voice inspired me and gave me the strength to continue with my voice and to move forward.
Y me doy cuenta que la fe sí se puede ver. Y la mía es tu hijo.
And I realized that yes, faith, we can see faith. And in my case, my faith is my son.
Martín Suárez Barrera. Gracias por ser quien eres. Gracias por ser mi fe y mi conciencia.
Thank you for being who you are, for being in my faith and my conscience.
Y como diría Gustavo Cerati, un rockero suramericano, gracias totales.
And as Gustavo Cerati would say, a South American rocker, total thank you.
Y pese a todo, the show must go on. Thank you so much.
All right, congratulations, David. He made a reference of being the mayor's voice, so that was a part of our candidate messages, and that's that reference there. But David has been a wonderful addition to the FATV members, and congratulations.
Muchas gracias.
Muchas gracias. All right, next, to present the Producer of the Year Award, please welcome to the podium, Keith DePerry.
All right, thank you, everyone. I've attended plenty of these events as a camera person, but this is my first time speaking, so thank you for having me. And it's my honor to present this year's Producer of the Year Award. This year's award recipient and I have a lot in common when it comes to this field, and that we both do a lot of teaching. Well, for me, it wasn't a facet of the job I initially expected. It grew to be my favorite. For Christopher Landry, it's his job title. He's a teacher at Memorial Middle School. There he teaches a class in media production, though that's far from his only subject of expertise. He has designed an incredible curriculum that does so much more in a lot less space than you would think that you would need for that class. If you've ever worked with middle school age kids, as I have, you know it can be hard to get them to do anything. But in Mr. Landry's class, not only are they interested, they're engaged, and they're producing content beyond the high school level. Did I mention that Chris has also written a textbook for the class that teaches some of what I learned in film school in a way that is digestible for middle schoolers? And I don't mean to say that it's dumbing down the information. It's just presented that well that someone with just starting out can grasp it rather easily. If you'd like to see some of the work his students produce, you can tune into FATV for their morning show. It airs every school day. For getting the next generation interested in media, proving you can achieve quality on a budget, and doing more with less, and a dedication to quality production and instruction, I'm honored to present this year's Producer of the Year Award to Chris Landry.
So, thank you. I appreciate the recognition. I was telling Nate, I was like, I'm just doing my job. So, if you don't know me, I teach STEM at Memorial, and I teach coding and robotics. I teach CAD software and 3D printing, and I also teach TV and radio production to my students. And I did build a TV and radio broadcasting center in my school, and we live stream on a video stream, and I have all the kids doing everything for me. So they set all the equipment up, and they do all of the broadcasts, and I just want the kids to have access. That's all. So, thank you.
All right. Congratulations, Chris. Yes, I can attest. I've been in that classroom. It is amazing. Every nook and cranny. It's just amazing what Chris puts together for the students and empowers them. It truly empowers each and every student. So congratulations. Next, let's see. Oh yeah, that's what it is. Our final member award this evening is the Romolo Testamata Award. This is the highest honor of the member awards, which represents outstanding volunteer service with FATV. This award winner is someone who's been a dedicated volunteer for a lucky 7 years now. So we just look back, and the first Flap TV episode aired back on FATV back on May 5th of 2017. Does that sound right? Yeah. Let's get some fact checking going. Okay. Since then, Kevin Cormier has been keeping our community. We want you live and in person, the real deal. Since then, Kevin Cormier has been keeping our communities connected through his program, Fitchburg, Leominster, All Politics. And I really do like that title. If you don't know, Flap TV Politics, it's great. It goes hand in hand. And with Kevin, too. Sometimes, I don't know, can you get a word in on the table, Mark? You can, yeah? Oh, all right. No, in all seriousness, though, Kevin's monthly show throughout the year features various topics and guests, keeping our communities informed on the local political front. Every year, Kevin calls me up. Nate, how can we enhance this year's debate season? How can we really match up with CNN and have a great election night? I want a post-debate forum. Let's go. Kevin, I got 5 people. Danny's over at Legislative Building doing other meetings. We're a little thin.
Let's get moving.
Let's get moving, he says. That was well done, well played. So every year, Kevin, it's a pleasure to work with you. You know, from debate night to election night and having an interview done at campaign headquarters, and not only in Fitchburg, but in Leominster as well. Kevin, you're a great partner to FATV, and I am honored this year to present you with the Romolo Testamardo Award. Stand for a picture? Come on in, come on in. Let's get moving to the podium.
Let's get moving, Kevin. Yay.
You just cringe whenever I get in front of a microphone, don't you? I can just feel your blood pressure going up from here.
You never know what to expect.
Not much, because I called everyone up here because it's not me, it's the team. I may be in front of the camera, but it's Michael Delamonaco, I think, is dealing with a probate emergency in the parking lot. Otherwise, he'd be up here too. Our director, Robin Como, Mike and Robin, right from the beginning with me, and Glenn Fossa, who was at the time the executive director of FATV, is the one that encouraged us, gave us the training that we needed, a lot of good tips, and we owe a lot to Glenn, who came after, to Glenn and then Nate, who came after Glenn, for all the support and help that you gave as well.
Don't forget about Scott.
And-
Scott was in that mix too.
Scott was in the mix? I didn't know Scott back then. No.
That one right there?
Hi, how are you? I'm Kevin. Nice to meet you.
Who are you again?
Nice to meet you. No, I can give him a pen.
A pen?
We can give him a pen.
There's one right there. You can get one.
But two important things to remember when we talk about, the debates. We really, for all intents and purposes, don't have a newspaper anymore. The Sentinel's not here, are they?
No.
I mean, they're gone. We don't have any. So we have to do the debates. And in a time of social media when politicians like to control their own narrative in their own little echo chamber of Facebook and social media where they don't have to answer to everyone, they can just put out what they want. It's important for all of you as voters to demand that they continue to show up to debates and face their opponent and answer questions not from their narrative, but from the narrative of the people. You need to keep demanding that they keep showing up at these debates and not let that go away because of social media. And the other important thing to take away from tonight is just to let you know that David and I are not brothers and we're not married. So all of you on Facebook that think we are, we're not. We're barely even friends. Sometimes you just need someone to go out for dinner with, that's all. You don't want us to be seen eating alone. So that's it. But thank you all. Thank you, Nate. Thank you, team.
Dave, I'm sorry, but I'm glad it was pointed at you and not me.
Make sure he picks up the next check.
Yeah. All right, shifting to the next part. This year, the 19th annual Robert Wilson FATV Scholarship was given to a full-time student at Fitchburg State University who maintained a 3.0 grade average in communications media film. Sky Goba, a sophomore and member of the Dean's List, is an active member within her school community. She recently worked on a class project with the Fitchburg Historical Society and is an avid track and field cross-country athlete and volunteers her time with an interfaith collaborative soup kitchen. At this time, I would like to recognize and congratulate Sky on her recent award. Congratulations. And now, let us begin the celebration for tonight's 27th Annual Boulder Award. All right, so please join me in welcoming one of our longtime FATV member producers, and she happens to be the current mayor of the city of Fitchburg, Samantha Squalia, and she's going to present something.
Thank you, Nate. Thank you, everyone, for coming. And congratulations to Pete Capodagli for the 27th Boulder Award. So this is for outstanding contributions to civic life through the use of public communications, right? And so when I was thinking about this, I was thinking, public communications can mean so much. And Pete, what I really know Pete the most for is his contributions really to kind of a lasting legacy of, explaining and advertising and really appreciating Fitchburg's art and cultural and historical, kind of nature when it comes to the Boulder itself, right? So Pete and I served on the Greenway Committee since what, maybe 10 years ago. Yeah? Yeah, for maybe 10 years. And, ever since then, Pete has, we've served on the Greenway Committee together, and Pete's been like, what I really want to do is highlight, the significance and history of the Boulder in Fitchburg. And, he's been pushing for 10 years now. The Boulder on the Upper Common, talk about the history, and do this recreational walk, and everyone on the Greenway Committee was like, love it. We're on board. And, it's taken a long time, and we are still not complete because it's everything in history is a constant work in progress, right? Anything worth doing, it takes a long time. And Pete is committed. And so this public communications is that we are creating with the Rock Walk, led by Pete Capodagli, is going to be something that lasts for generations. Right, so what Pete's vision is for the Rock Walk is starting at the Boulder, moving along with a self-guided tour, the Rock Walk tour from the Upper Common all the way up to the summit of Rollstone Hill, that telling the story all along the way of Fitchburg's history and how we got to be. And I think that use of public communications is just an incredible, kind of change, really, when you think about, media, digital media. But this is utilizing digital media, website, print, in-person events. I mean, we're just, really kind of adding everything together. And I absolutely love it. Totally committed, on board. And so, having said that, from the city of Fitchburg, we have a citation. Be it hereby known to all that the city of Fitchburg, Massachusetts, hereby offers its sincerest congratulations to the 27th Boulder Award winner, Peter Capodagli, in recognition of Fitchburg Access Television's prestigious recognition of your outstanding contributions to civic life through the use of public communications. The entire citizenry offers its very best wishes on this memorable occasion and expresses the hope for continued good fortune.
Thank you very much, Jen.
Well, thank you, Mayor Squalia. Next up, I would like to give a warm welcome to Representative Michael Kushmerek. Michael?
Had to make sure it was under here. That moment of truth, got a little bit scared. First, I want to congratulate the first three recipients of recognition this evening, and to the entire FATV community. This is we're gonna celebrate Pete and Ann in a minute, but I think this is also about celebrating Fitchburg and celebrating FATV and all of the incredible work that it does in our community day in, day out. Kevin, you talked about, you know, holding your politicians accountable and bringing them closer to the people they represent. FATV ensures that every leader elected, appointed, and every community member connects with the people that they serve each and every day. And so, you know, for the folks that aren't able to get out into the community and see it firsthand, for the folks that maybe moved away decades ago but are watching from parts all over the globe, and who still call Fitchburg home very proudly, and for those who maybe are just going through the grind of kids and work and don't feel like they still have that connection to the community like they used to or hope to, FATV just does that amazing job of ensuring that Fitchburg still feels like their home. And so, round of applause to FATV and all the incredible work they do. And so, on to the person of the hour here, and really people of the hour, because, you know, with any success, there's always an incredible woman behind them, pushing them forward, and you know, keeping them on a steady path. So we know that's you. We've always known that's you. And really, what's incredible about Peter, aside from just the amazing head of hair that you have, I need to get your secret here. In all seriousness, is, you know, you really bring Fitchburg's history to life, and you connect each generation to Fitchburg's history. You make it relevant for them. You bring it not only to life, but you find a way to capture the attention and invest people in not only the history of the city, but the future of the city. You've done it from arts and culture and connecting people to, not just connecting people. You were a staple of the arts and cultural scene of downtown Fitchburg. You have been there through it all, from the highs and the lows and back to the highs again and beyond. You have been there since the very beginning, pushing and making sure that at times dragging the city kicking and screaming to where it needs to be. And ensuring that the next generation continues moving forward and continues investing with the same passion and the same enthusiasm. And the Rock Walk, the incredible work. I remember the first time you came in front of the city council and really talked about your vision. And you know, it was a handful of folks, and you were really passionate. You were like, I'm doing this, and I'm gonna bring all of you on board, and sure enough, and now we're sitting in a room with everybody's on board. You've been an unapologetic advocate and fearless about ensuring that you're making the right asks at the right time to advocate for what you care about. And at the end of the day, it's not just the Rock Walk, it's not just arts and culture in our downtown. You care about our community, you care about our city, and you care about each and every person in this room and far beyond this room. You're just an incredible person, and we know you're not doing it for you, you're doing it not just for the people in this room. You're doing it for the generations beyond who are going to thank you for the work that you've done and ensuring that we hold our history tight and that we continue to care about the people and the things that have made Fitchburg great and will continue to make Fitchburg great. So with that, I have a citation from the Commonwealth of Massachusetts. The Commonwealth of Massachusetts House of Representatives, be it hereby known to all that the House of Representatives offers its sincerest congratulations to Peter Capodagli in recognition of being presented the 2024 Boulder Award for your outstanding contributions to civic life through the use of public communications and beyond. The entire membership extends its very best wishes and expresses the hope for future good fortune and continued success in all endeavors. This is given the second day of May 2024 at the State House in Boston, Massachusetts, signed by Ronald Mariano, Speaker of the Massachusetts House, and offered by myself.
Thank you, sir.
Thank you, Representative Kushmerek. And now I'd like to introduce Beth Walsh, representing Senator Cronin's office.
I got it. Thank you. I am here because Senator Cronin has not mastered the art of being in two places at one time. So he sent me, and I am more than happy to do it. First, I want to thank FATV. I had somebody, I was just telling Nate earlier, I had somebody from another town in our district, which shall remain unnamed, and she said to me, how did you get FATV to do all of this coverage and broadcasting and the shows that they present? And I said, they came to us. I mean, you just have to find the right access television station, and we have. So thank you, FATV, for all you do. The other thing is that it's always a pleasure for me. There's a little secret part of me that when John can't come to an event and it's somebody that I really, really like, I'm really thrilled that he can't make it. So, and tonight is one of those occasions. So I think that Peter Capodagli has given so much to the city of Fitchburg. Not only the history, the culture, everything. And I think that if there's history of Fitchburg that Peter doesn't know, it probably didn't happen. So with that in mind, I'd like to present you with this citation. It's an official citation. Be it known that the Massachusetts Senate hereby extends its congratulations to Peter Capodagli in recognition of outstanding contributions to civic life through the use of public communications. And be it further known that the Massachusetts Senate extends its best wishes for continued success, that this citation be duly signed by the President of the Senate and attested, and a copy thereof transmitted by the Clerk of the Senate, signed by the President of the Senate, Karen Spilka, and offered by John Cronin.
Thank you so much. Thank you very much.
All right. Next, I would like to introduce to you all our guest speaker for this evening. He is no stranger to many of you. You got your speech ready, Kevin, right? Yeah. So please give a warm welcome to the host of North Central Journal, Mr. Scott May.
It's always a pleasure for me to come back to FATV in some form, certainly speaking here tonight, seeing so many good old friends like Ann and Travis, and oh yeah, Barbara Foster, and George Merijan Hunianian. Great to see you. Smart, funny, kind, handsome, young for his age. But enough about me. I'm here to talk about Pete Capodagli. We have known each other for 50 years or so. We became friends when we were in our early to mid-20s, before we were married. We had mutual friends like, well, let's see. I have to look at my notes now. Ray Davin DeBonis florist, was one of the guys. And Tom Condon, the father of Travis Condon at the Chamber of Commerce, also one of our pals. And another was Bill Tweeka, who I'm sure all of you have heard of. Bill, his parents had a summer camp on Wyman's Lake in Westminster. And it was open for business for those of us who were young and could stay up all night, swimming and boating and water skiing and many cold beverages and cookouts. We had a great time and memories that live on to this day. We've just never forgotten those parties and that fun and how we met one another. I interviewed Pete last month for North Central Journal, and I want to share with you some of his family background, because probably there's a couple of you here who may not have seen the show. He comes from Italian immigrants, both sides of his family. grandparents immigrated to this country through Ellis Island and ended up in Fitchburg. He had a grandfather who was a cement mixer working on the 5th Street Bridge. That was before machines, when men actually did the cement mixing. His parents grew up in the Patch off of Water Street. They were both Fitchburg natives. His mom spent time working at the Wallace Library, and during World War II, she worked at Fort Devens. His dad was a service member in World War II and became an investigator for the Veterans Service Department out of City Hall in Fitchburg, and later became the commissioner of the Veterans Services. Pete himself spent 35 years as a teacher in the Shirley School system, a science teacher. And his wife, Ann, also a teacher, worked in the Fitchburg public school system as an art instructor. Born, bred, and buttered in Fitchburg, he bleeds red and gray. And I would say that when all is said and done, Fitchburg has been his life, along with his wife and children. As they approached retirement, they were trying to figure out, what are we going to do when we retire? And they retired within a few years of one another. They both have that passion for art. Pete being a collector of vintage art and his wife being an actual bona fide artist. And they thought, wouldn't it be nice if we had our own place? And the shadow of the Boulder appeared on a building nearby, and hence the Boulder Art Gallery was born. And the mission of the art gallery, I asked Pete the question, and he said to have a professional setting to display some of the best works of local and regional artists and to participate in Fitchburg's cultural community, the Boulder Art Gallery. We've heard a lot about the Rock Walk this evening. I'm here to mention that the next walk is scheduled for this month on the 25th of May.
Correct, yeah.
And they're going to gather at the Boulder Art Gallery, correct? Yeah. Pete's also a member of the Fitchburg Planning Board, and he told me when projects come before the planning board, if he doesn't think they'd be good for the city, he won't vote for it. I touched on Pete's passion as a collector of vintage art, and that gets us to the Ivor Johnson bicycles. Manufactured in Fitchburg beginning in 1896, there were 610,000 Ivor Johnson bicycles made over the course of 50 years. Pete has 45 of them, working on 610,000, but he has 45. And the earliest is made in 1896, correct? 1896. Yeah. I talked about how Pete and I met over 50 years ago, and we're been around giving the Boulder Award away for several years. I've been involved since 2012 in Fitchburg Access Television, one way or the other. I was the executive director, Kevin, for a while. So this year, the Boulder Award is given to a man who has dedicated himself to the city, the history of the city of Fitchburg, but also to the future of Fitchburg. And for the record, it's not Pete Capodagli. It's Pete Cap. Congratulations. I'm done.
Yeah, thank you, Scott. Stay up here. And, without further ado, it's time for that big moment. Pete, from the bottom of our heart, our family, our community, it's so wonderful to be able to share the Boulder from FATV to the historian of Fitchburg's Boulder. Ladies and gentlemen, your 27th annual Boulder Award recipient, Pete Cap. Pete Capodagli.
Here you are. It's heavy. It's heavy. I look forward to it. Be careful. It's a little heavy. All right.
It really is. Please share some words with us. Thank you. And thank you, Scott.
Wow. Well, thank you very much. Before I get started, I feel it's my responsibility to clear up one little issue. It's Merijanian. Who on earth could get that wrong, George? It's right. It's pronounced just the way it's spelled, Merijanian.
It's phonetic.
Right. Now, George occasionally likes to pass off the idea to people that he's not the major historian in town. He sometimes like to pass off that honor to me, but we really know who the real historian is in town, and that's really George. He's got a handle on everything. Well, good evening, everyone. What an absolutely incredible evening. Those that know me know that I'm not really one to talk about my accomplishments, so thanks for doing it for me. I'd like to thank FATV's director, Nate Glennie, Scott May, and the entire board of directors at FATV for even considering me for this award. We know there are so many people in the city that are deserving of this award, many more than me. And to be given the 2024 Boulder Award is certainly a very humbling experience, but also a very exciting experience. Knowing my interest in the Rollstone Boulder, getting a Boulder Award makes me feel that I've really come full circle. I also want to thank my family for being here this evening. My son Gregory and his wife Kate. Greg and Kate have two beautiful children, Jack and Connor. Also, my daughter Sarah and her husband Andrew Storm for being here this evening. They also have two beautiful children, Maxwell and Sadie. Ann and I like to call them their children, but they really are grandchildren. Also sitting with Andrew Storm is his mom, Pamela Storm. Nice to have you here this evening. I also want to thank my sisters for being here this evening, Joyce, Judy, and Joan. And Judy's husband, David Cormier. Thanks so much for being here this evening. And I'm very happy to see my uncle, Frank, and my aunt Eleanor Zakelli that showed up tonight. So nice to have them here. Frank said a very interesting thing to me on the way in, and I thought, wow, that's true. He's known me since I was born. That only tells me one thing, Uncle. You're older than me. Yeah, we always called my Uncle Frank Junie. He was our Uncle Junie. But now I guess he's old enough to call him Uncle Frank. But most importantly, I'd like to thank my wife, Ann, who has always been by my side offering words of encouragement and support. No matter what crazy project we were involved with. Most of us know us as owners of the Boulder Art Gallery, but we were not always business people. We were never business people, and we were educators. I spent 35 years teaching science in the Shirley School District, and Ann spent 35 years teaching art in the Fitchburg Public Schools, with much of that time spent at Fitchburg High. As time came closer to retirement, me in 2007 and Ann in 2009, the thought began to run through our minds, what can we do in our retirement? We wanted to do something to keep ourselves busy, but we really didn't want a 9-to-5 job. We wanted something that was going to be fun, with not a lot of work, really. So one evening, we were driving through the Upper Common, and I pulled my truck over right onto the sidewalk to the right of the Rollstone Boulder, and I pointed to a little brick building that was for sale straight ahead, and it had a vacant storefront. And I said to Ann, what do you think of this? Boulder Art Gallery. And she thought about it for a minute, and she turned to me and said, let's do it. We can do it. One of our frequent visitors, while we were remodeling the place, was one of our close family friends, Ellen DiGeronimo. Now, Ellen DiGeronimo was very, very excited for us, and she couldn't wait till we opened. She recommended we talk to a friend of hers at the Chamber of Commerce. So Ann and I made an appointment to see this gentleman at the Chamber of Commerce, and we sat in a couple of chairs in front of his big desk, and he began shooting off a series of questions to us, which we kind of answered very politely. But then out of the clear blue sky, he says to us, "Could I see a copy of your business plan?" And I kind of looked at Ann and I said, "Business plan? This is the first time I've even heard of the word business and plan in the same sentence." So I said to the guy, I said, "Oh, we really don't have a business plan. Our plan is to open and kind of wing it from there." Well, as soon as he heard that, the conversation was over. And he really didn't take us too seriously, and we left. However, we did manage to open. And after being open for 14 years now, we've managed to place hundreds upon hundreds of pieces of artwork in people's homes. We've managed to cover expenses and even make a little bit of money. But we still have no plan. Shortly after opening the gallery, the little brick townhouse to its left, and then a few years later, the Unified Petroleum gas station to its left came up for sale. And we thought, we really should try to grab those because they abut our property, but they were both in absolutely horrible shape. The townhouse needed total rehab. It had one brick exterior wall that was basically crumbling. It was on the market forever and nobody would touch it. The gas station was simply a disgusting, dirty disaster, both outside and inside. And what did Ann say? Let's do it. We can do it. Let's go for it. So I guess the moral to that story is, if you're going to sail the rough seas, it's good to have a good co-captain by your side. So I guess the big answered question here is, why me? What did I do to deserve this? And more importantly, why did I do it? I've been thinking about the answer to that question for some time, and I was asked to go on Scott's show, North Central Journal. And the very first question Scott asked me was, "Tell me a little bit about your family history and your connection to Fitchburg." Well, I thought about that for a while, and I thought, well, okay, all of my grandparents, I'm stealing your thunder because you stole mine. all of my grandparents immigrated to the United States from Italy at the turn of the century, coming through Ellis Island. They had one destination in mind, and that destination was Fitchburg. They were able to eventually buy homes here. They worked here. They raised a family here. But most importantly, they stayed here. My mom and dad were born in Fitchburg. Likewise, they raised families here. They worked here, and they stayed here. My mom and dad had 4 children. All of the children were born in Fitchburg. We eventually found jobs here. We worked here. We raised families here, and we stayed here. Well, with one exception. I did have one sister that managed to stray. She met a Leominster guy and moved all the way to Leominster. So I guess the first clue to why I did the things I did was family connections and family history right here in Fitchburg. But I thought about that a little more, and I thought, there really has to be more than that. There really has to be more than family history and connections. And I thought about it for a long time, and I came up with what I feel is the best answer to this question. And that answer is experiences. And I even gave it a name. I call it the Fitchburg Experience. And let's start it off like this. How many people in this room can say they spent their very first day of their life on Main Street in Fitchburg. We were born at the Lucy Helen Hospital on Main Street in the Upper Common. Talk about an early Fitchburg connection. As a very, very young boy growing up, my mom would often drag me to Main Street, and we would visit stores for hours on end that I had absolutely no interest in. The House of Shoes, Miller's Clothing, Park Snows, although I did like their elevator, Bonnie Rosen's. At Bonnie Rosen's, I would just sit under the clothes racks and just wait for her to leave. But my family did do a lot of things that I really enjoyed. We always went to old-fashioned bargain days. We always went to the Burbank Hospital Fair. We always went to the 4th of July parade. And we spent a lot of time at Coggeshall Park. Great Fitchburg experiences. When I got a little older, I could walk to Main Street with my older sister Joyce. And we would go to the Universal Theater, the Fitchburg Theater, the Saxon Theater, and we'd buy candy at the Carmel Corn Shop and Fannie Farmer's. Again, those Fitchburg experiences are mounting up. However, my life really changed for me when I got my first bicycle. The city really opened up for me. Now I could ride my bike to Coolidge Park and watch the softball games. I could swim in the swimming hole they had down there that was fed by the river. I could catch guppies and small fish in Falula Brook, Baker Brook, and Putz Pond. I played for hours in the Nashua River. For some reason, they didn't have a lot of guppies and fish in the Nashua River. My friends and I would ride our bikes down to the huge sandbanks that were once along John Fitch Highway. We'd ride our bikes off the tops of the sandbanks into the sand. This is before John Fitch Highway was even cut in there. I played, as a young boy, on the arches of the 5th Street Bridge. I played under the bridge. I walked the railroad tracks. I ran through the smelly tunnels or subways that went under the tracks. I spent time at the depot, the Fitchburg Depot, watching the trains pull in and the huge flocks of pigeons that were always there. And I could make it as far as Rollstone Hill, where I, as a young boy, could explore the quarries. So, incredible Fitchburg experiences growing up as a kid. It's not all. When I got to be of age to go to B.F. Brown in Fitchburg High, all of a sudden, Main Street really opened up for me. We walked to school, and we walked home. So when we got out of school, we were right on Main Street. Now, I discovered Crocker Field. I had a paper route for a couple of years, so I used to hang around at the Fitchburg Sentinel building that was in the Upper Common. Many times, my friends and I would stop at the Finished Drug. We'd buy vanilla Cokes, cherry Cokes, and ice cream. My dad worked at City Hall, so I always liked to stop in and see him sitting behind his desk reading the Fitchburg Sentinel. Right next to City Hall was McManus Novelty Shop. What a great store to go in. And right down the street, the Wallace Public Library. I spent some time in the Wallace Public Library, although I probably should have spent a lot more. Right on the corner right there, we had a student special. A slice of pizza and a Coke at Espresso Pizza for 25 cents. And what was next to Espresso Pizza? Sears Roebuck. How many times did I walk around Sears Roebuck looking at all the stuff they had in there? On the corner of Main and Putnam was Fitz Photo. They had a huge slot racing track in their back room. We always used to hang around there. And across the street, the Putnam Street Bowling Alley, where we bowled and we played in their pinball machines. Right across the street, every boy's dream store, the Army and Navy. And down a little bit further, we'd often stop at the Woolworth's lunch counter. I got my very first taste of Chinese food at the Peacock Restaurant, which was right above Fannie Farmer's candy store. On my way home, I'd often stop at Jack and Harry's. Perhaps some of you remember that store. And we often stopped at the Fitchburg Music Store, where Jerry Martell never minded that we fooled around with the drums and the guitars. And as a last stop, if it was a hot summer day, we'd stop at Enright's Pharmacy in Moran Square and get a Lime Ricky. Incredible Fitchburg experiences. So in closing, I believe it's all about experiences. I not only grew up in Fitchburg, but more importantly, and from a very young age, I lived the Fitchburg experience, and it was a huge part of my life. Perhaps these experiences changed my perspective of things, made me see things from a different point of view. Perhaps these experiences led me down certain paths or led me to do certain things. But I honestly do believe all of these experiences put together in one big bundle somehow, in some way, were responsible for leading me here this evening to receive the 24 Boulder Award. And I thank you very much. Thank you, Mike.
That's yours now.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, don't forget.
Thank you.
Pete, congratulations. The stories that you share about Fitchburg, there's just so many of them. I actually have a couple of surprises, one of which is actually for Pete again. We, FATV, myself, we would like to follow you this year at the Rock Walk, and we want to document and preserve the Rock Walk for everybody to enjoy. You know, some people don't live around here anymore. Some people might not be able to make it up, but this way here, everybody's going to have access to it, and we're happy to be there with you.
Great.
So, wonderful. So that is May 25th, 10 a.m. is Wheels Up, right?
Yes.
At the Boulder. Okay. Oh, so maybe we'll see you there, but I will be there, and I hope to see you too. The other surprise I want to share with you, and I just found this out last week, is that FATV was recently notified by New View Communities, who is joining us over here at the table to my right. We, FATV, have been notified that we are going to be awarded at their 2024 annual meeting with the, I just had it, I'm sorry, I should know this, the New View Community Participation Award. And we are very humble to receive that, so thank you, New View. And their event is coming up to celebrate 45 years of their history in Fitchburg. And that is, bear with me, Thursday, May 30th. And that's at Fitchburg State. So New View, thank you for recognizing FATV. All right, so there you have it, folks. Peter Capodagli, our award recipient this year. Thank you all for being in attendance this evening, and I hope you enjoyed your evening, and hope to see you back next year. Thank you. Congratulations.